So how's everybody doing? Welcome to another Here's the Thing at the End of the Day football talk. I'm here with Ricky.
What up?
And how was the game last Sunday?
It was really good. I was supposed to be on the podcast on Wednesday, but duty calls, and unfortunately, when it comes to political campaigns, they sometimes go long. They're definitely longer than
Comes to
some.
political campaigns, Ricky gets very political. You idiot!
That's it. You're triggering me. I'm
Trigger.
gonna have to get your rent. No,
Okay.
but no, but going back just real quickly to do a recap, it was so fun. For those that have seen my Twitter or know me on Facebook, I did hang out with the legendary Mark Holmes, another famous Cowboys YouTuber. Very fun time, like just hanging out with Cowboys fans. Very good game. I mean, it rained, but at the end of the day, seeing a blocked field goal nearly be returned for a touchdown and a pick six in the same game, one of those once in a
It was kind of poetic justice back from 2006 when the Redskins almost ruined the Cowboys season after blocking Cowboys field goal. But I don't know. I forgot who it was, but wasn't it? I think it was like Sean Springs or something like that who
So it
blocked
was
it.
either him or Folk. Or no, oh, not the kicker, but yeah, someone.
Wasn't in the NFL yet.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a long time, but
He went to the University of Arizona. Nick Folk did.
uh, Nick Foles.
So did Nick Folk.
No, but yeah,
They're like Nick Folk and Nick Foles. They're like the same
the,
person. Are you the same
yeah,
person?
they're the same. No, but yeah, it was really fun. I mean, the fans were really nice. I mean, they were just like, of course, you had this, small little trash talk, but at the end of the day, they were like, just enjoy the game. But it was fun.
They're assholes like Eagles fans.
Exactly. I mean, we were thinking about going to the Eagles game when they came to Philly last game of the season. We're like, nah. But so yeah, with that out of the way, those kinds of things I can go over that later. Even whatever. Let's get straight into the mini cast podcast, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead. Just in case you're wondering what we're talking about, we're gonna briefly talk about the Zeke Elliott suspension, like how annoying it's becoming, and then we're gonna have what was it? The two topics of uh Papa
It's
John's.
gonna be the Papa John's situation and Colin Kaepernick
Yeah.
basically suing uh three important two important owners and then another one because he's been in the news recently. Which I mean he's basically gone after Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft, and Bob McNair.
Roberto Crafto.
No relation to Steve. One was black and one is white. So
All right.
we're gonna go into how we're feeling about our team's games tomorrow.
Yeah.
Both they're playing on CBS. Sorry.
No. Yeah.
What's your on what has just transpired with Zeke?
Can we just get this over with? Well, look, I want to be very clear. Like, look, if he's guilty of it, he's getting laid off very, very lightly. But if he hasn't done it, you got to fight this to the very end. And see, and Hank, I know you did this on Facebook, and I completely agree with you. The NFL has to either prove that he did it and suspend him,
Mm-hmm.
or drop the case entirely. And clearly,
Yeah.
when the guy has two temporary restraining orders and now this emergency stay, which I was not expecting in the slightest.
I don't think anyone was besides Ezekiel Elliott and Jerry Jones. They seem to be very pro, like they're gonna win this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like they're the two like main people who feel this way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought it was over. I'll be honest.
I'm looking at this situation in a twofold thing. One, I'm totally done with this topic.
Yeah.
Either suspend him or don't suspend him, okay? Because as it is, it's like I'm just numb to it. I'm sure most Cowboys fans are also numb to it. The other thing I'm thinking is that the thing is, I don't really care one way or another, but I would rather play against, and I might be in the minority here, and this might be really stupid of me to say, But I'd rather play against Ezekiel Elliott so that in the end, when it all comes down to it, people aren't pointing at that game being like, well, that
Cowboys,
game really didn't count because Ezekiel Elliott wasn't playing.
Well, yeah, and not only
if the Eagles can't beat Ezekiel Elliott, and if we can't beat the Dallas Cowboys, how are we going to be able to go into a place like Seattle and beat the Seahawks?
I think
how are we going to play a team that's got a power running game, or have like a run first mentality where their offense it basically comes from their running back? And I don't want there to be an asterisk here because when the Eagles, for the most part, besides that Thanksgiving Eagles game in 2014, the Eagles haven't beaten the Cowboys. Like their star player was playing. 2013, 2015, 2016.
I think that I think 2014 is like the only one as of recent. I mean obviously back then, but like as of recent memory, Thanksgiving Day of 2014 is the last time that the Eagles have beaten a fully healthy, ready to go Cowboy squad. Granted, it was pretty handily, but that didn't even matter in the end. Granted, there were certain circumstances that took place. But look, here's my thing. All you got to do is, and I'm just going to say it outright, I don't think the guy should get suspended. You know my opinion on this. And clearly, if he manages to avoid it 3 separate times, then why are you pushing the suspension? Now, look, like you said, just please either get it done and over with in terms of suspending him or just remove it. And I'm honestly in the camp, just remove it.
Also, I think it's really funny how all the internet lawyers were like, oh, he's suspended. Like, people were like people would be like, I'd be like, so is there a chance that he'll play? And like everything I saw, people were like, no, he can't play. This is final. And everyone was saying this was final, but this basically came out of left field.
Exactly. I mean, I guarantee you that if you told me from the beginning of the week, like after they, the courts, the Fifth Circuit Court or whatever circuit court said, nope.
It was second.
So I think it was second. The fifth one was the first time. But anyway, if you told me when it came out that he was going to get this, I would have thought you were lying or just trying to make false sense of hope. But I will say this: that helps the Cowboys out tremendously, and I'll talk about this later when they're going up against Kansas City. But just look, NFL. I think you either got to drop it or. You know what I mean? Like, I will say this. If he manages to get enough...
You probably really don't care one way or another.
Yeah, I will say this.
Either way, it's gonna test Dak Prescott, and it's gonna be good to see him without Zeke because you're gonna see if he's for real or not, or if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You'd rather see him.
No, but so just to end on this note, all I'm gonna say is this. Basically, you either, if he gets another stay or something around the likes, NFL, just drop it. Because, sure, you're going to, of course, the appellate courts or those circuit courts are going to agree with you. But why do you have to keep going back to the circuit court to help you?
Yeah.
If Zeke was truly guilty and you had proof that he was guilty, then why does he have 2 TROs and a stay? At this point in time. Okay, so with that,
I'll end on this. From now on, people who know the law. People say this is final, that is final. Dude, anything is possible in the courts.
I was just, and basically,
All right, so let's move on to.
Let's move on to. Yeah, let's move on to better ingredients. Sucky pizza, Papa John's. No. Okay.
Kelly and I, we besides today because I don't know why we didn't do it today, but usually on Saturdays we always get Papa John's pizzas deals. Like Kelly's able to get pretty. They've got Knott's. That we've been getting this spicy sausage pepperoni pizza. Like they've got decent pan pizzas and stuff like that, but I will say that Papa John is, if his real name, if that's even his real name, Papa
No,
John.
no, 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 no. It's John. Like it begins with an S. So it's like sure rally or something like that. I don't know. That's not. That's not even remotely close.
Hey, Papa John, you're not my father. Anyway, he's a grade A jerk for what he said.
I think he's being a complete idiot.
Sense picking for straws because something's not working for you, which I understand, like a lot of people don't like these protests. I really don't care about them that much anymore. I'm kind of numb to them because, you have people talking about they should be able to do that or they shouldn't be able to do that. But like these protests aren't killing your people. If anything, the one thing that is killing, because I can just speak for myself. When I see like an advertisement on TV, I am less likely to buy it after watching the advertisement.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I am less likely to watch that show because I'm just so annoyed that they had to like end it. But like maybe like people just don't like your pizza. You could totally bring it back to that Colin Kaepernick thing. See him protesting, sign, and we won't get into this later, but we'll get into Colin Kaepernick later. But people say like, oh, what if he's just not that good? If your pizza is just not that good, get better.
Oh my god. No, okay, so here's my whole spiel. Look, we all know, and if you don't know, and I'm not trying to make any correlation or try to do anything else other than talking about Papa John's. So Papa John, he's a avid Trump supporter. He has given money to Donald Trump. He has committed wage theft. He has tried numerous times to stop himself from raising his pizza prices by like 14 cents to help pay for his employees' health insurance benefits, etc. I mean,
didn't like weren't they? Didn't he say that Didn't they say they were donating to a certain cause, and like for like taking the pizza sales and donating some of it?
Oh yeah.
And then he ended up raising the price by. He said, "We'll take $121.25 from every pizza sale and send it to some kind of cause." And then he raised the price of every like pie by like $1.25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Something like, I don't know if it's true, but like
yeah, I heard something about that. But anywho, so basically, here's the thing is that he wants to say that the anthem protests are resulting in his business alongside of the NFL losing money. Look, I'm not saying that. Look, as American citizens, they're allowed to say that. He's a private entity or company, so he can do what he wants to, as long as he abides by certain rules and regulations. But look, I think Papa John is a complete idiot. Okay, and my thing is that his correlation is completely. I don't know why he's making that kind of correlation, because it's like if you could argue that like, or what did he say exactly? Because now I'm starting to lose my train of thought.
Okay, Papa John.
He said that he was losing money, right? Not the NFL, right?
No, he said he was losing money, and he just ended the NFL sponsorship.
Okay. So let me. So now that I remember, I knew like that's the premise I was trying to get to. Okay.
He said leaders of Papa John's, the official pizza company of the NFL, blamed the league's recent kneeling protests during the national anthem for lower projected sales and profits for the year during a conference call Wednesday. The NFL has hurt us. Company founder and CEO John Schneider.
Schneider. No,
Schneider. He doesn't even sound Italian.
No, he don't. He's not even Italian. Fake Italian.
Schneider.
Okay, so I guess this is what I'm trying to get to. My whole thing is that a protest can in fact hurt someone's business, but we're talking about the NFL as a business in itself. Now listen, Papa John's can do that. They can do that as a company. They can rescind their sponsorship or whatever. They can do that. Do I think that that was the right choice? No, because you're basically. I think that this was just a way of saying. This is just a way of Pop or John Schneider to be like, oh well, I just don't. You know,
He's
it's like
wanted to leave for a
yeah,
while.
I feel like that he wanted to leave the NFL sponsorship. It's just he wanted an outing, and this was it. And keep in mind that it could be either that, or he personally believes that, he's like, oh well, I personally believe that my company should not be involved in that. Like same thing, like how Chick-fil-A isn't open on Sundays.
Saying that the pizza sales are going down because of the protests, he's probably wrong.
Yeah, like
I mean,
I'm not looking at his
people
numbers,
are,
but
unless there are actually people out there who are like, oh, I see Papa John. I see right here that Papa John's has a partnership with the NFL, and the NFL is disrespecting our country. I'm not gonna buy from them anymore. Like, I'm sure that
no, but like, see, like
like
obviously there is that kind of mentality where it's like, okay, the X person is like, for example, like, and this is, I know that we're talking about food, but like, people with fursuits, um, like, like not fursuits, oh my Christ, fur clothing,
yeah,
um, basically, like people don't buy that or they boycott it because of the reason like they feel like that's animal cruelty to kill an animal or do things to an animal to ensure you get the most fur out of it. Granted, I want to be very clear that I'm not trying to compare that to crappy pizza. No, I'm kidding. To the pizza, but the point is that people people are going to boycott things if they don't subscribe to it. For example, Papa John's is doing it right now. He doesn't believe that his company should be involved in what the NFL is trying to do or whatever. He could do that. I completely disagree with him,
yeah,
but that's pretty much the whole idea, the mentality of boycott. He's boycotting his company from the NFL being whatever sponsorship this, sponsorship that. He's just doing exactly what other people would do.
yeah.
So yeah.
I just think he wanted to do this for a while, and he finally found a reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL could sue him for
They
this,
no. They're gonna just sign a sponsorship with Domino's.
or they're
Yeah.
gonna sign a sponsor. Did you see that tweet that DiGiorno did?
Oh yeah.
And it was like DiGiorno, their stocks are going up, and Papa John's stocks are going down, something like that.
DiGiorno, the official pizza of the NFL.
And
Okay.
personally,
I think we should.
yeah, I just think that either way is a bad thing. I think Papa John's is not going to be. I mean, what they're still sponsored with ESPN though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
so next part we're going to discuss Colin Kaepernick suing the National Football League because he believes that a few of the owners have been colluding. We had Trump with Russia collusion. We had the
It's all rigged.
DNC with Hillary Clinton collusion, and now Colin Kaepernick is going after a few NFL owners, Jerry Jones in particular, Bob Kraft as well as what Bob, I think his name is Bob McNair,
Bob
the
McNair.
Texans owner, for especially after botching the inmates slash
like a common phrase that shouldn't have been used.
he just botched it completely, and it just looked bad in almost every way. Even though there were people like, "Oh, I've heard that quote all the time."
Okay.
He's suing NFL owners for collusion, and I guess my only take with this is, if Colin Kaepernick really wants to play in the NFL again, he probably just killed his chance.
Yeah. I want to be very
now that you've
okay. Yeah. So basically, what I'm looking at is that Colin Kaepernick is suing his quote unquote employer in this case, unless he goes to the CFL, which he can do. Um, but so he's suing his employer because no one, he's not getting a
No,
job or he's not getting hired. No one wants to hire him. Like for example, and I'm not trying to say like keep in mind that when I give examples, don't be surprised if they don't really equate to the
don't
actual
be surprised.
scenario. That's no. So like, say for example, you owned a company, and I go to apply to your work, apply to your job, and you're just like, no, I won't hire you. Okay, then I'll be like, oh no, I'm suing you because you're colluding. You don't want me to get hired. But see, this is why you they like if you would actually have to ask the owners themselves, which they could possibly lie. Like you got to ask them, are you not like why are you not proceeding? I mean, like why aren't you hiring him? They're probably going to give an answer like, well, personally, I feel like he doesn't fit with our team in terms of play style and on the football thing, not his off, on, not I guess you could call it off the field. His like
You could say something. Obviously, teams that have been like more vocal about it haven't said the smart thing. Oh, he doesn't fit our system. He doesn't fit what we want to do.
yeah, like see,
You
here's
know.
my thing. Yeah, yeah, but you when it comes to a collusion thing, like with the whole Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, or the Trump thing that's going on, there are some form of evidence that you can use to make somewhat of an argument. More so with the DNC because there are emails and stuff. In this case, Colin Kaepernick has no evidence that I have of recent that can prove
Yeah,
this
he's got
collusion.
unless from owners being like, "Don't sign him," or else, or "Don't sign him." I don't, I don't see why he's. I mean, I can because he's probably upset, but he's kind of just barking up the wrong tree, and now people are seeing this happen, and now they're definitely going to sign you. You know, and
Yeah,
everyone's been going crazy because of what like the Texans have done, what they've signed after Kaepernick, they've signed
they
after
signed to what's his face, Matt McGloin, right?
Matt McGroin and TJ Yates.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious people don't want him, but can he prove that owners are like discussing this with each other and being like, yeah, you shouldn't sign him because of his political ideals?
Yeah.
It
Like
just
imagine this. Here.
it kind of becomes harder, more difficult every day to kind of defend Colin Kaepernick in.
Yeah. Here's my thing, Hank.
Hmm,
If say for example the motors meeting, the owners meeting,
hmm.
they specifically bring like there's a couple of the owners that are discussing like they're in a group of like, hey, I don't think we should sign Colin Kaepernick because of his the what he's doing. Now, if you can prove that, yeah, that's collusion because clearly they are working together to ensure that a goal is met and to basically ensure that. However, there is no evidence that you can prove of that. Now, and I've always said that the reason I personally think Colin Kaepernick isn't signed yet is because yeah, you could argue he's a solid backup, but you know, I just think that the way he plays football and like I don't think his skill set or I just don't think he's that good enough to be on a NFL roster. Now, you people are gonna come at me and be like, "Oh, what do you
I
mean?"
think I think he is good enough to be on an NFL roster as a backup, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah, that's what
definitely
I meant. Yeah,
as your franchise player. I think
exactly.
he could be a backup, but I mean, I don't want him.
Yeah, I don't want him either because we got
It's like
Cooper Rush.
Vic situation where I was like, I don't want him because well, we can get into that. I can get into that on another day.
Yeah, but
But
I'm just gonna say this.
barking up
Look,
the wrong tree.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All I'm gonna say is this: if like there are people, of course, saying Colin Kaepernick, like what he's saying is true. There is some form of collusion, which I'm not saying it's completely false, but it's more likely than not it's that's not true. But when I say, or if Hank says, like, I don't think he's getting signed because X, Y, this, that, and the third, that doesn't mean we don't want him to get signed or we do want him to get signed. What we're like, that's a big problem that we have is that people are quick to rush to certain judgments. And
Mhm.
like if Hank told me I don't know, Carson, how would I word this? Like if he told me that Carson Wentz isn't getting an extension because he bought guns, I don't know. It's like,
But
then no.
but I don't think that would never happen though.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
I
But the
don't
point
think
I'm
that would
trying,
ever happen in a million years.
the point I'm trying to get at is like, obviously, I would think Hank's out of his mind because I don't think you can do that. But you know, that's an issue. Like people want to rush to conclusions. Like obviously, I'm under the assumption he's not getting signed because of the reasons I outlined. Does that mean I don't want him to get signed? Absolutely not. I think he should be on an NFL roster. I just am providing ideas
Yeah.
of why he's not on an NFL roster, other than the anthem thing. I'm not trying to say that isn't, you know. And again, I could go on about this. I just want to end it right there. Look,
The other issue has been the field issues. I think there were rumors that he had sex with he to what is it what was his who was that defensive player who called in that bomb threat and has been in
um,
trouble.
I don't remember his name.
He was like drafted in 2000. He was drafted in the same draft as he was drafted in the same draft at drafted in the same draft as Von Miller. What was his name? 2011 NFL draft.
You got Cam, you got
He went to the 49ers. It
um
was
oh my god,
actually the draft.
what was his
No, it
position?
wasn't. Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith.
Alden Smith. Yeah, there we go.
His girlfriend cheated on him with Colin Kaepernick, and then Aldon Smith beat her afterwards or something like that.
Yeah.
My sister also met him once. My sister once, well, I mean, this isn't that bad, but she like went on a few dates with like a defense, like either an offensive tackle or a defensive like lineman who had no chance of making the team. And she was excited because she met Reggie Bush because Reggie Bush dated Kim Kardashian. And then she was like, I saw this weird looking guy, and I was like, hello, what's your name? And he said that he looked like really confused for why anyone would ask him that. He said, my name's Colin. And I was like, did he look like Squidward? And she was like, yeah. And there's another
Oh
Hank
my god.
sister story. Anyway, do you want to get into
Yeah, let's get
our
into
teams? You
teams.
go first.
Okay, so yeah, Cowboys are getting a visit from Alex Smith and Kareem Hunt and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to Dallas. This is Tony Romo's. Interestingly enough, I found out about this that this is the first time since 2002 where Tony Romo and Jason Witten are in the same stadium but not teammates. First time since 2002. Yeah.
I think he's going to
Anyhow,
be critical of the Cowboys.
I don't know. I mean,
Bro.
I think Romo is just gonna take it easy. I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's just. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But honestly, I could care less about that. Let's talk about football. Look. So Elliott. So I like already did a pregame. I talked about how the Cowboys need to utilize all their running backs, and then Zeke's back. So now I had to do an update and be like, oh, well, I think. Well, look, all the Cowboys had to do.
Not going to be the starter.
What? Yeah, exactly. Um, look, so all the Cowboys got to do just run the football. Like, I mean, over the last 2 weeks, I mean, and also Sean Lee needs to stay freaking healthy because when Sean Lee's healthy, the Cowboys have not given up more than 20 points a game. They have never given up
Nice.
more than 20 points a game when Sean Lee is in there. The other two games, they lost by both 35. They gave up 35
was the Rams. That was the Rams game and the Packers game, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it came down to the very end. So I will say, and again, as long as the Cowboys just play their brand of football, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
I picked the Cowboys to win that game by like 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Cowboys to win. I don't think it's going to be an easy one.
I think the Cowboys are going to run it down the Chiefs' throat. The Chiefs have the 28th rushing defense, but at the same time, I think Alex Smith is going to have some command. I think it's going to be 27-24. I think the Chiefs are going to score 24 points.
I think they can. I mean, clearly, but I will say this. If the Cowboys can shut down Kareem Hunt and they end up having to force Alex Smith to throw, which, by the way, Alex Smith does take care of the ball. I mean, he's thrown 16 touchdowns, no INTs on the season yet. I mean, that's fantastic. MVP level stuff right there.
That's some Nick Foles.
All right, stop. Okay.
How many touchdowns did he throw for? 27?
Shut up.
I think he threw 9. I think he threw 19 touchdowns.
19 touchdowns, 2 picks, I think.
No. 19 touchdowns before throwing an interception.
Oh, yeah. It was 19. Yeah. Anywho, look.
Before you go on, what's your the Chiefs 1 to 10?
My confidence level probably a 6.
Yeah, that's pretty good, honestly.
I mean, like seriously, like I mean, in all honesty, this is going like if you told me, like I think it went from a Chiefs are slightly going to win or might definitely win to now it's a 50-50 leaning towards Dallas. And I will say this, you got to keep in mind the Cowboys are at home, and yes, I know people, the Cowboys at home, they suck. Well, let me tell you, they're not playing in Kansas City. If they were playing in Kansas City, I would have picked Kansas City to win. Plain and simple. But
yeah, the last time you guys played the Chiefs, it was a 1-point game.
Yeah.
17.
But, I mean, hey, all the Cowboys got to do is just run the football, play smart on defense. Dak just doesn't have to turn the ball over. On defense, just get pressure on Alex Smith. And I know, like, he tends to throw it to either Tyreek Hill or to Travis Kelce. So plain and simple, all you got to do is just, play good on them, and you got a shot. I mean, the Cowboys – look, and I will say this. If the Cowboys win this game, that's huge. Because depending on what happens with Philly, I actually have them winning this week. I did pick them to win. But if Philly hypothetically loses, then Philly's in a lot of trouble going into the bye week.
Yeah, we really are.
Because think about it. Let's say the Cowboys win the next game. So you have a 7-2 Eagles team going up against the 6-3 Dallas team. And if Dallas beats Philly in Dallas, then Dallas takes control of the division. Now, again, that's all hearsay. Because clearly 3 weeks from now, we could have a completely different picture. Yeah. But I will say this. Eagles just got to be – and I hate to talk about the Eagles, as I'm talking about the Cowboys. All the Cowboys got to do is just take it week by week. They'll be fine. I think they get the W, like, by 3 points, like you said.
All right, so I'll go to my game. It's going to be Eagles-Broncos blackout game for the first time this season. I'd rather just play with green because that's been working, but I honestly, black is only good for the Giants because, we'll just smoke the Giants every time we wear black. But, this is – I want to come into this game saying that, we're just going to blow the crap out of the Broncos. But,
Don't be EDP.
They still – what?
Don't be EDP and say you guys are going to lose this game by 30 points.
Yeah, well, I think that he likes to play, like, devil's advocate.
Or no, he went to the reverse psychology. By the way, Brock Osweiler, he's starting.
Yeah, Brock Osweiler, starting quarterback, not Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian blows. I mean, I think his for the life of me, I still understand why they're not playing Paxton Lynch because Paxton Lynch is an actual number one pick by the Denver Broncos. I mean, maybe because that might not be that good, but
either that or he's hurt. But
great on defense. They still have Von Miller. They still have an excellent secondary. Biggest key for the Eagles is to run the ball. We got Jay Ajayi. I don't know if Jay Ajayi is gonna play that much.
Probably not.
I mean, I think he might get like around 6 carries.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really important that we're active in this game. Make sure we play ahead of the Eagles play ahead of the sticks, and turnovers are really, really bad. Last week, Carson Wentz threw a key turnover, which led to a 49ers touchdown. Eagles, it took them a while to really get started. I mean, Wentz came out of the game really, really iffy. But we got to make sure get the receivers involved, make sure Ertz is involved, Jeffrey, uh, Hollins, and Aguilar is also
Mm-hmm.
involved. And on defense, make sure you play to the weaknesses of Brock Osweiler.
Yeah,
I
you know
don't
what I'm interested.
think Brock Osweiler is particularly that good,
No, no,
but
no.
it's just the fact that it's the unknown factor coming in. Like, we haven't seen him play at all this season with the Broncos.
Yeah,
And
you
they might
don't
be
know if
getting him
he.
back to
Yeah.
go on.
So, well, no, I was just gonna bring up. I'm actually gonna be interested to see what the Broncos utilize on Von Miller because a lot of people were saying, um, Von Miller is gonna attack the left side of the offensive line because of what number 72. But no, but here's my and I want to just stress that Von Miller always rushes from the right side of the offensive line, and
Yeah, which is
I've never seen him rush for a majority on the left side. Now I'd be surprised if they did that. Keep in mind, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do in terms of the pass rush, and I don't want to keep I don't want to keep you lingering. But
nice. Keep
no,
going.
no, no, no. I just want to be very clear that the Eagles had to be very, very careful with the amount of
Uh-huh.
hits Carson Wentz is taking, and oh, they got to tell him, right? They got to be like, look, Carson, you can't keep doing this scrambling stuff. Sometimes you just got to go down. And and listen, I am not by any means, and you know this, I'm not by any means of the imagination trying to say he's like he is, and I hope he does get hurt. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the Eagles got to be very careful because one injury, whatever, can change a person's career. And the last thing you want to do is make Wentz. And I know Wentz is tough, but the last thing you
Yeah,
want to do is expose him to those hits. So
I'm
but I mean, you got Nick Foles, so I mean,
no, yeah. I'm just hoping that the Eagles decide to utilize that running game, possibly run some. He wasn't very
yeah.
happy about that. He's a Cleveland Browns fan. Anyway, I hope they utilize a lot of stretch plays. This is one of those games, kind of like the 49ers game, where we don't really know if their running game is inept or not, or if their offense is inept or not. Making
Mm-hmm.
sure that if you're up 17-3, that you make sure that you're playing the game, that you're not as aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
How do
Like
you
that, so
like
that you avoid turnovers. You know?
oh yeah, like you don't try to run up the score in that situation. You just try to run the yeah because and trust me, as a Cowboys fan, I've experienced this. I believe it's 26-3 or 23-6. Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers 2013. I will say this, like literally, I was like, oh, we're gonna be fun. I literally turned off the TV. I walk in, this is when I was still in high school. I literally, well, some argue I'm still in, but anyway, like I literally am doing homework. I come back out, and next thing I know, they're down by 7. I'm like, what the frig happened? And then we end up losing the game. So look, if the Eagles want to win this game, they cannot get cute. They can't get like, oh, I mean, Wentz is going to pass for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Look,
Not happening.
I'm going to tell you, I know, but the thing is, having a gunslinger is a curse and a blessing. And I will tell you this: the last thing you want is to steal with a gunslinger for your like. I dealt with that with Romo. That it was either good things or bad things. But
I the biggest thing the Eagles need to do is utilize the short passing game,
oh yeah, absolutely. That's how
because
you
if
beat
you
the
can get the
no-fly
ball
zone.
really quick, then that'll obviously slow down the pass rush, have them play coverage, and that'll allow for the running game to
Oh,
pick up. Which Yeah. I think
Yeah.
this is going to be a 3-point game. I'm definitely not looking at this game as like, oh, we're just going to spank them completely like many people feel. Look what happened against the Giants. And I'm like, like they're like the Giants were able to score 23 points against them and they only scored like 10. And it's like I watched that game. If anyone watched that game of the Broncos under Trevor Siemian, could not get out of their own way. I think they had 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
Three
So,
turnovers. One was a pick six. Like in the second half, the Giants could have punted on first down.
oh yeah. So I will say this, and then I will end my thought on this entire thing with the Eagles. Eagles need to win this game because you got the bye week coming up, and historically, from what I've seen, the Eagles after the bye week are very sometimes, like of recent memory. So I will say this: an Eagles win is a must. It is a must. Like, and many people have been telling me
every game is a must.
Well, every game, no, because I'll explain why I say that. Obviously there is like I've had Eagles fans, tell me like, oh, we got this in the bag. Even we can lose this game, we'll be fine. No, you have to win as many games as possible because you don't know what's going to happen with Dallas. It's a 2-team race at this point between Dallas and Washington. For all you know, remember in 2014, everyone thought the NFC East was on lock for the Eagles. All they had to do was win a game or two. Guess what? Lose 3 straight games, and they end up out of the playoffs.
Tough end of the season.
Well, yeah. The point I'm trying to make is that anything can happen. So stockpile as many wins as possible before that Dallas game. So if you're sitting at 8-1, you're still pretty good, even if Dallas does beat you. But if you're sitting at 7-2 and Dallas is sitting at 6-3, you're not looking. Yeah. That is a very, very, very scary thing, especially after the bye week. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
No, I've come into everything cautiously optimistic, and I think it's going to be a tough game, and I'm not, with Brock Osweiler being a relative unknown, I respect his play.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's one thing about him, it's the fact that although a lot of people look at like, oh, he's 5-2, and I'd say had a different been very much like that. Denver had like they had a different coaching staff when he was there. They had Kubiak as the head coach of Vance Joseph, and with McCoy as their offensive coordinator. So you just got to get pressure on him. You have to make sure you nullify the running game. Make sure you play ahead of the sticks and play to his weaknesses.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents.
All right, so let's before we end this, let's quickly go through fantasy must starts and sits. We're gonna go through court. Okay. We're not gonna do.
Oh, I won my fantasy game.
Yo,
I'm 1-7.
I'm 7-1 right now. I'm the Eagles. He's the gonna soon be.
I'm the Giants. So, starts. I would say quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, I would say. Ooh.
Well, I got mine. So
you got yours. Say yours.
Okay, so firstly, no bias, but just let me explain. Okay, so my must start is most definitely Dak Prescott. And you're going to be like, oh, well, what do you mean? The reason why I say that is I think that this is going to be a much more high-scoring affair, and I think that Dak's going to definitely have to air out the ball in some parts and whatnot. And people, again, no bias, but I think that Dak's going to have a pretty good game upcoming against Kansas City. Now, my must-sit, no bias, Carson Wentz. You're going up against the no-fly zone, and yeah, sure, while the defense might help, the last thing I want to do is put my money on Carson Wentz against really top-notch corners. And so, again, no bias, but those are my 2 starts. And
I would say my start is Drew Brees against Tampa, or possibly Blake Bortles against the Bengals. he's not having the greatest season. But if you look at all these matchups, they don't really look too good for quarterbacks.
Hmm.
Running backs. Well, I started Matt Forte, so I can't really say that. For running backs, running backs, I'd start Leonard Fournette. I think that's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, okay, mine is my
Or
must start is Aaron Jones for the Green Bay
Aaron.
Packers. That is a must start. He is the featured back in Green Bay. Yeah, sure. I think Ty Montgomery's coming back, but trust me, Aaron Jones has proven himself as a reliable back.
More of a rushing. He's more of a receiving back than.
Yeah, but the point
than,
still stands. He's yeah.
Yeah.
My must sit. Alex Collins for Baltimore. A lot of people are saying that yes, he's now pretty much the number one back. Guys, he's going up against the Tennessee Titans. Their rush defense is pretty solid.
Must sit.
Must sit.
DeMarco.
Oh, yep. Agreed.
Must sit DeMarco Murray. Wide receivers.
Wide receivers. Okay. My must start Marvin Jones Jr. for the Detroit Lions. He had a very good game against the Steelers, relatively speaking. I believe he put up 12 points. Yes, he didn't get any touchdowns, but the fact of the matter is that Marvin Jones should be getting a lot, especially since the Green Bay corners are not that great. So I would expect Marvin.
Must start Julio Jones.
Okay.
The brother of Marvin Jones.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Must sit. Sit. What's his name? Jamison Crowder. He's not gonna play at all.
Okay. Yeah, and my must sit. Alshon Jeffrey, must sit. I don't think that he's gonna have a good game.
Defense must start. Must start
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, and I start Baltimore, and a lot of people have been telling me, no, don't start Baltimore. Here's my reasoning for it. Look, Baltimore is coming off a solid game, and I think that their defense has a lot of momentum. No, they're not going to put up 29 points fantasy-wise. By the way, I, in fact, had them on my bench in my For Money league, but guess what? I still won my game anyway.
Yeah.
But look.
Yeah.
Oh, and we skipped tight end. Tight end. Must start Jared Cook.
Must start for me is Evan Ingram. Oh no, really? Either Evan Ingram or OJ Howard.
Really? That's funny because Evan Ingram is my must sit.
I just say Evan Ingram because he's like their best target now. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, but my whole logic behind it is that the Rams are pretty good against tight ends, relatively speaking, according to stats. But hey, you know what? It's the NFL. Anything's possible.
I mean, one red zone trip, one shot into the end zone. That's all you need. Did you know I picked the Giants in this game?
Yeah, I picked them too.
Oh, okay. I was
two can play this game.
I was called really bad names after I picked the Giants. And I don't think we really need kickers.
Who did you pick for the Jets and Bills game?
I picked the Jets.
Motherfucker. God dang it. I'm trying not to get behind him.
You're never going to overpass me.
By the way, in case you're wondering, Hank has a 4-win lead on me, so I'm trying to catch back up.
It's because I had like 2 really miraculous weeks. Let's be honest.
You went like 12-2 last week.
I know, and then I won the one before.
Okay, that should do it then. I mean, yeah,
that should do it. Kickers, if you don't have a kicker, then I feel bad for you.
Screw off.
But I hope everyone has a good Saturday. Watch some college football.
And don't pull your hair out when your team loses.
Yeah, like I did.
Like I did when Penn State lost to Michigan State.
I know. You can blame it on Lightning.
Fire everybody.
You're-
That's it.
Yeah.
Fire everybody. We're
Fire,
done. All
fire
right.
coach. Get rid of everyone. Cut everyone.
You know, just,
Over again.
you know what? Just blow it up. Blow up the
Start,
whole stadium. We're done.
start all over and again. All right.
Alrighty, guys.
All right.
I hope you have a wonderful day. All right, bye bye.
Peace.